Victor's going to be our next caller. Hello, Victor.
Hey, Bart.
How's it
How you
going?
doing?
Good.
Good. All right. So this hand's at the 2-5 Hard Rock in Tampa.
Okay.
It's eight-handed. I'm visiting, but I'm new to the table, but from what I can tell, it seems like a pretty good, pretty loose passive 2-5 game. As long as you make an hand, you'll print money.
Yep.
So the low jack opens to 20. I am in the hijack with 7-8 of spades.
Okay.
So I usually mix all three options here, but with this loose passive table and the low jack is only 300 effective and he's pretty tight, I choose to just call.
How deep are you guys, by the way?
With the main villains, I'm the effective stack at 1100.
Okay, so 1100 to 5. Low jack opens to 20. Hero immediately to the left just calls with 7-8 suited. You guys are pretty deep. I'm assuming that 20 is pretty standard out, but I mean, obviously, most of the time there's probably should be a 3-bet. It's really hard to call and play these hands from the middle. You've got two people to your left. Where I would do my calling is closer to the button, and a lot of times in these loose games, this will incentivize people to come behind you and call too. So I probably would 3-bet here quite a bit, or fold, lean towards 3-bet.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just this guy was the tighter and the shorter stack. But anyway, like you said, everyone calls behind. So the cutoff and both blinds call.
Cutoff and the small blind and the big blind call. Okay.
Yep. So we're 5 ways, 100 in the pot.
So 5 ways. Okay.
Flop is ace of spades, 8 of clubs, and the 5 of spades.
Ace of spades, 8 of clubs, 5 of spades. So, wow, you flop a 15 out combo draw, right? If I'm looking at, well, no, excuse me. You have a middle pair and a flush draw. I thought you were open ended for a second.
Yep.
Okay. Ace 8, 5, 2 spades. Here has 7, 8 of spades. Okay.
Yep. So it checks to me. So the original checked. I choose to bet 50.
Okay. So checks to the hero who's in the hijack, right? So original razor checks, and now you've got, all these people behind you though too, the blinds and the cutoff. But I have no problem, coming in here really for a bet. To be perfectly honest with you, I mean, obviously ace X isn't going to fold, but just even some protection from random overcards against like 8X, and you're sort of building a pot up where you have a lot of equity. So I have no problem. So checks to hero in hijack who bets 50.
Yep.
Okay.
So the cutoff and the small blind both call.
Cutoff and small blind call, preflop razor folds.
Yep.
PFR folds and big blind folds. So you put in 150 on the turn, so it looks like the pot's like 200, right?
250.
250. Yeah, 250, sorry. Okay.
Yep. So the turn is the queen of diamonds.
Queen of diamonds, okay.
Yeah, and then like I was saying, it's a loose passive table. So at this point with third pair, I think it's a good spot to just check, try and realize some equity, especially since I'm sandwiched between two players. So action checks all the way through.
Well, yeah, I mean, what I was going to say is, positional awareness, the fact that the cutoff has called next to act and you also have spades kind of lends it to, obviously he could have higher spades, but I think he's going to be kind of weighted towards a lot of ace X that's not folding. Then, of course, you get another guy that calls. So best thing in the world could be like if the cutoff doesn't have an ace and it just gets checked through, or the small blind wasn't going to fold. But I actually, I like this check on the turn now for those reasons. I just think that this is not like if the board was, queen 8-5, and now the turn was a king or an ace where you might barrel again to get somebody off of top pair. Obviously, that's not going to happen here.
All right. The river is the 10 of spades.
So it gets checked through. Pot remains 250. And now the river is the 10 of spades. So you make a flush.
Yep.
Okay.
So now the small blind, he leads out for 150.
So small blind who overcalled the flop bets 150 into 250, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, I mean, it was a very loose passive game. Up until this point, 0 bluffs were being shown down. anyone else who bet just had it every time. So I don't think any of the players in the hand are really capable of bluffing. So
Yeah, but I mean, you can't fold, right?
right.
Oh,
So,
all right. I know, it's like it made a I mean, there's no way I'm
Yeah.
folding, but
Right,
you
right.
have like one of the lowest, if not maybe the lowest possible flush, besides maybe like I don't know 6-4 of spades or something that would possibly VPIP in this spot. So I mean, I assume that you called, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
so yeah, that was the first kind of decision. I
Yeah.
chose to just call instead of
Uh-huh.
raise in this
Yeah.
spot. So I think maybe like jack high flushes are better. I'd probably start raising, but with this 8 high, I think I just call here.
Yeah, I mean, we can go down that rabbit hole I mean, you can sort of count these, because the ace is out there. Because when the ace is not out there, then you really have to take a step back and realize that against this action, there's so much ace x of spade, ace x any suit that you might not even want to raise non-nut flushes here, given a lead here. But now, obviously, we're just talking about if you had like a jack high flush. But obviously, this is a call. So small blind bets 150, hero calls. Okay.
Yep. So now the cutoff, he thinks for a little bit, and then he raises to 400.
Oh boy. So cutoff raises to 400. By the way, this was the guy that checked back the turn, right? When you check to him. Okay. So cutoff raises to 400. So now what does the small blind do?
He snap calls.
Wow.
Like no thought at all.
So the small blind calls. Wow, let's do some math here. So it's these guys put in 400 each and you've put in 150. So
Yes.
the pot is like 250 for you to call, is that right?
Yes. I think I have 1200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1200, 250 for hero to call, because you've already put in the 150. Oh my,
Right.
I mean, this is crazy because you're going to be getting such a price here of, well, I mean, you're getting, actually, it's 5-1, right? Just under 5-1. So, I mean, once cutoff raises and the other guy folds, the other guy calls as opposed to fold, how can you possibly, the only possible scenario here that I could see would be somehow if the cutoff was making a bluff raise and the small blind either had some sort of non-flush hand that he thought was good that you beat, or somehow has a smaller flush than you in any of those sort of combinations. I mean, it can't be, well, we know the small blind's not bluffing, right? Because he called the raise, but it would literally have to be the cutoff is like making some play and the small blind has worse than you. That has to be the scenario. By the way, they could both have flushes here too. I don't know how I call here. I don't think you're good here 1 out of 6 times. I got to be honest with you, even though you've got a flush, just because, like I said, you've got 7-8 of spades. The board is ace of spades, 8 of clubs, 5 of spades, queen of diamonds, 10 of spades. Small blind's V-pipping, cutoffs in there. All that's really left in terms of lower flushes would be 6-4 suited, 6-3, 6 deuce, which shouldn't really be obviously V-pipped, and 3-4. So, I mean, and if these guys are ever playing any up and down suited cards, then you can see, like you're talking about like King X suited, you can see how it's just. And then for both of these guys to have that, I think you got to fold it. Even though, I mean, I'm not one for making quote unquote big folds given pot odds, but I don't know if you can call here.
Yeah, and the small blind, I mean, I think the only non-flush value hand he would have here is like literally a rivered 2-pair, like ace 10. Any other good hand, before the river, he would have let out on the turn or raised earlier. So yeah,
I mean the other thing too, yeah, but it's not just, we're not playing this hand in the vacuum, where it's only the river. Where if someone's like, well, what if the cutoff has like, just the king of spades and he's raising. Remember, he got here pre-flop, flop, and on the turn as played, where he called the hero's bet next to act on the flop and check back the turn. Which hand contains the king of spades that calls next to act on the flop on an ace 8-5 2-spade board, checks back the turn, and now raises the river? Because it shouldn't even be King Jack, right? When you bet in on the flop, how does he have King Jack?
Right.
Not that he would raise there at the end when it goes bet call if he even ran into it, but I'm just saying that, like, the combination of him somehow having the king of spades in his hand by calling the flop on ace 8-5 and then raising the river after checking back the turn, like say he was calling to set up a king of spades float bet, he's probably going to bet the turn. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It makes absolutely no sense to me. And then to raise the river, all of those things have to come in congruence. It just really seems impossible to me. I think I fold.
Yeah, I kind of laughed, took a couple seconds, and I just, folded face up.
Oh, you folded face up?
Yeah, which I shouldn't have done because the table berated me later. But the result was the cutoff, the small blind had 2-4 of spades.
So the small blind has a smaller flush than you.
And the cutoff has 3-6 of spades.
So they found the two combos, so there were 3 flushes, and you had the highest flush with 7-8 of spades.
Somehow, yep.
That is, wow. That's fucking crazy. Obviously, too, that's one of those ones where, again, you don't want to be overly results oriented. I think that you made the right play. I don't think you're good here 1 out of 6 times. So, people can look at this and say, see, you're the best hand. I'm never going to fold. It's just one of these things where, how often does this happen? That's obviously a very brutal overplay by the cutoff here. Like, obviously he's not bluffing, right? He thinks he's raising for value. When this guy goes 150 and then it goes call, and then you can see how far they are out to lunch with their pre-flop holdings, which is pretty crazy. But wow, that's a tough one. But yeah, that's crazy. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Bart.
Wow. That was definitely an interesting one for sure. I'm looking back at the live chat and I see a lot of people. Great raise by the cutoff. Great raise by the cutoff. He got value from deuce four. He made a combo bet, right? Remember I said, if you guys are familiar with Crush Line Poker, Crush Line Poker material, I say combo bet. The combo bet, of course, is like the rare case. The combo bet is when you can get weaker to call and better to fold. And the only time that can ever happen is before the river, when somebody is calling with a draw and you're getting a better made hand to fold. This guy actually pulled a combo bet on the river, which I said was impossible, where he got weaker to call and better to fold. That's playing on another level, right?